Hello guys, and welcome to Scrap Series version 2, layout number 4, entitled Happy Tradition. So with this one, this is pretty basic. I went back to my usual thing that I do with scraps, which is to use my punches, and I used a 1 3/4 circle punch along with a 2-inch scallop punch. The scallop punch is from Marvi Uchida, and then the circle punch is from EK Success. And I'm starting off with this orange cardstock, and that's going to be the base of my layout. And I've pre-punched my papers already, so you won't see me do that. But this is another fun way to use up those scraps, especially if you have scraps that have words on them, like what I have here. If you have watched my, I believe it was my September-October homemade kit, I have an inspiration paper that I used for that particular kit that had a bunch of square pieces, and it had different like designs that could be used for card making, because it had happy birthday and thank you and all that. And so I had some leftovers of that, and so instead of cutting out as squares, I punched out circles from them. And then I'm using some of these little pieces of scraps of paper, and I'm going to use that to tuck in and create a frame with my photos. I have two 4x6 photos here, and these are photos of me and my children enjoying our birthday Baskin-Robbins ice cream. I sign up all my family for free Baskin-Robbins ice cream for their birthdays, and so my son and I both share a birth month, and so we get 2 free ice creams, and we just buy an extra one so that my little guy and I can share one as well. So I am just trying to kind of visualize, see where all of those punches or punched out circles is going to be. And then I'm going to lay the words there. So you can see some of them have the words like hello there, and then others are just plain, well, not plain, but they're just the pattern paper without any words on them. And then I'm going to use a cut file that I've created with some free script fonts, and it's just the word happy, and that is cut from a glittered cardstock, and that's going to be part of my title. And then I'm going to add the word tradition with some rub-ons. And then for my journaling, I've cut them into strips, and then I'm going to adhere that on the bottom left side of my page. Trying to see which one would work better. And then I have these glittered hearts that I also cut from my die cut machine, and I'm going to put them in 3 different spots on my layout. Now, one of the scraps that I was happy that I have hoarded was this strip of paper that had the ice creams on that bottom part of my layout. And I cut that out using a rectangle stitch die from Memory Box, and so it has a little bit of stitching on the corners of it, or on the edges of it, which was really cute. But I'm glad that I kept it because it worked really well for pages like this, and I have a few ice cream pages, so I'm glad that I think I have one more of that little piece, so I'm glad that I kept that. Now, the circles in the background just seemed like the page didn't look like it was full of the circles, so I moved some of the circles around to make sure that I have room for one more layer there, and I would call that good. So I'm moving things around, and then I'm going to adhere that. I believe I've adhered everything else already. Oh, before I adhere everything, I want to make sure that, I guess I did adhere everything. I think I inked out the circle edges as well, but I didn't do that on camera. But I am going to ink the white edges, the edges of my white cardstock / backside of my pattern paper before I adhere that onto the orange cardstock. So I'm going to adhere the piece now, and then I'm going to continue just adhering everything that I have already pre-designed for this particular page. So I hope that you've been enjoying this series. I I love doing these series because it gives me an excuse to kind of focus on one product that, or one product slash technique that I have been kind of neglecting or I haven't been using in my typical scrapbooking. If you have any questions, make sure that you leave that in the comment section below. I try to answer comments as soon as I can, sometimes not as fast as I would hope, but I do answer them eventually, I guess the word is. So I'm just going to adhere that with some glue dots, and then I am going to adhere my my strips of journaling as well. My favorite adhesive to use for these kinds of things are of course the mini glue dot, because they're just so easy to use and mess free. You can also use some liquid adhesive if you don't have the glue dots, but it's one of the staples of my scrapbooking. So there are the hearts. I'm trying to remember where I had placed them before. I have to make sure that I put them in 3 different spots of my layout so that they could create a visual triangle. And I love this layered punched out shape look, because then I can layer multiple papers over on top of each other, which uses up a lot of my scraps, but at the same time they add a really neat design to my page. So I haven't been using rub-ons for a while, so I decided to do that. I did manage to make a mess of my rub-ons, and so I'm using this trick with just a Scotch tape, and then I pull out the little piece that I didn't want in my page or in my title, and then you wouldn't know that I made mess with my rub-ons. And so there's my page, and I will catch you guys another day. Bye.